This is Anthony Brogdon. You got another one of my videos on strong inspirations where, again, like I say, I do my best to give you some good, strong, positive history with people that I find around the country, minded aspirations, intentions, things that they do, and we keep it positive. So today I have on a gentleman by the name of Anthony Courtney. Anthony is just been doing Black history for a long time and's got some great stories. So I'm gonna let him tell them instead of me tell them. So Anthony, thank you for being on Strong Inspirations.
Thank you for having me. And I
tell
just
us a little bit about yourself, man. How you become the kind of guy you are? How did all that begin?
Well, a lot of it started in terms of my Black consciousness back in 1966. I born in the city of Chicago and went off to college at Cole College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Place that when got to college, it was only 4 Blacks on the campus. 9 came in with my class, but I understood later on how I got there. Because in 1963, when they had the March on Washington and also the Birmingham bombing, that opened the doors for a lot of Black students all over the country to wind up going to small colleges. And so it was 14 of us, and then it was steadily recruiting Black students. Now, the one thing I experienced is when I went to college, the whole move was civil rights. Dr. King, that was in 1964. But in midstream in 1966, then it began to change to Black Power. Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture's book came out. And what took place was that we began to read, and I played 2 sports, basketball and football in college.
Is that
right? That's right. And
okay.
So what happened is one day, I was a couple of brothers, one from Chicago and one from St. Louis, called me into the room and they say, well, brother, I want you to listen to this album. And when I listened to the album was Malcolm X, Message to the Grassroots. Right. And then I got the book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, and my life had never been the same anymore.
Well, it's kind of funny how sometimes those actions like marches and things of that sort have lingering effects and really make things change. And that's reflective on you going to a college in Iowa.
In Iowa. That's exactly right.
And so those people, the white folks in Iowa, got to thinking, okay, we're going to, do our part, whatever they did, small, to help educate some Black students.
Right. And this happened not only just in Iowa, but it happened in all small colleges around the country. Like I said, based on the involvement of our, level of involvement of our people in the push that was taking place in terms of the masses of our people. And so then while there, like I tell people, I knew what prejudice was when I went to college, but I knew what racism was when I got out.
Wow. There's a difference, you think?
There's a difference.
Okay.
Prejudice might be personal. Racism is a structured design thing that we continuously go through as Black people in this country every day. It's a setup. And so that what takes place is that depending on our personal circumstances or what we come through in life is that we see it very differently. It's hard to explain a lot of times racism, everybody, but nowadays what's taking place in 2020 is we understand what it is now. Back then we didn't understand what it was. We thought it was.
How did they accept you when you got to campus? Because they, probably someone hadn't even seen a Black person.
And they hadn't. I think in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, it was one of the richest cities in the country at that time. It had armor meat packing and a number of things. The city was 100,000 people, but it was only about 3,000 Black people in the whole city at the time.
Oh, man.
So, this is where God put me for a reason.
Yeah. So how did you feel, losing connection with all the black people coming out of Chicago, having to deal with white people. How did you do that?
Well, what took place is I stayed in touch with my folks. We didn't have Zoom or a
Yeah,
cell
yeah,
phone, but
sure.
we made an effort to stay in touch. And there are a number of us, as we got together, when there's only a few of you on the campus, you begin to sort of band together. But we
Okay,
found out there was people kind of looked at things differently. One of the things at the time that I had looked at was brothers and sisters that came from different parts of the country.
sure.
And I really didn't reflect on it until after I got out of school, and I saw like it seemed like in different areas we function kind of different. Like I would check the brothers that came from the West Coast, and to me they seemed to be like in La La Land.
Okay,
The
okay. Well,
ones
okay,
that
we ain't
made
gonna
it,
do.
the ones that made it to campus because they had that warm weather all the
Yeah,
time,
I
right?
got you. I got you.
And then the brothers from the East Coast, they was fast talking, wheeling, dealing,
Yeah, I
because that's
got
what they
you.
was doing in New York
Yeah,
and
right.
Jersey and places. The brothers from down south, they seem to be just happy to be able to be in the presence of white people because of the fact that they had been denied so much in terms of the segregation that took place in the South.
Right,
Now, those of us who came from Chicago, Gary, Detroit, we
right.
had a whole different attitude.
I
We
got
was
you.
we was ready to fight at the drop of a hat.
So did white people accept you? I mean, let me say this. One
Hmm.
to me, what has happened is over years, slavery ended because white people ended it.
Right.
And all the other racial stuff, the injustices, Jim Crow laws, black people fought to make it happen. But the only real good thing is the conscience of white people made them think, okay, this is not good, and they're going to change. Did you all feel that consciousness, or how they
Well, what we
that kind
felt
of thing?
was this is and not only just white people in slavery, but so did black soldiers, because once the brothers came out them plantations in the South and joined the Union Army, it was a whole different ball game in terms of people's attitudes. A lot of people still function out of fear of black people, especially black men. This goes on today. And so, it was a dual thing that was taking place. On the college campus in 1967, we formed the African American Self-Improvement Education Organization. And
Okay,
then we challenged the system, and they were not expecting this. And this was happening all over the country at the time. The same
okay,
black students that they brought us in 64 began to challenge the existing system. And so
okay.
what we did is we took over the administration building, locked it down, and put our demands on the college. And
They
so,
accepted. How did that go over?
well, it went over pretty good because
Okay,
what happened, we were able after maybe about 3 or 4 days, because they never expected us to challenge the existing system.
okay,
We came there one way, but then our attitudes changed based
okay,
on the information that we had gotten. So that was a heck of a time of things that was going on,
okay.
during that period of time.
When you say challenge the system, give me an example of what you wanted to challenge. What did you want to make different or better or alter or improve?
Right. Well, the education system, because racism existed in every aspect of our lives. I don't care what it is, whether you in education, you in politics, you in economic development,
Sure.
and what took place was as we began to study, read, we began to see it, you know.
Uh-huh.
One of the things that was a little different for athletes is athletes on the college campus got preferential treatment.
Oh, sure, sure.
We weren't treated like other black students because we were Saturday's heroes.
Right,
All
right.
right. And so athletes, even today, they still, a lot of them now are beginning to go through things that other black folks have gone through,
But but but
and mhm.
but let me go back. What was your demand? I mean, when y'all locked the school down, you demanded X.
Right.
were those demands?
We demanded courses that would taught African American history.
I got you.
We challenged the fact that they were not bringing enough Black students in.
Okay.
We wanted some Black teachers.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. I got you.
yeah,
So that some of those things they could understand your plight and maybe sympathize in some respects.
right. But you talk so long, but then people don't do nothing. So then sometimes you have to take a drastic measure. And we didn't even know we were going to do it because there was a lot of dialogue amongst ourselves as to whether or not we should go ahead and take over the administration building, that dialogue.
Right.
It was really interesting. And at the time, I was getting ready to graduate. And so I told the cats, because some of them, some of our people are fearful, some of our people, but I told them, I said, look, this was my thing. I say, look, I'm gonna go along with this. I'm gonna risk my graduation to do this because for me, this is the right thing to do.
Right.
I say, but that then the Chicago came out, or the Midwest, or what you want to call it. I say, but if y'all back out, I'm gonna beat your butts.
Right. And so that's what Black people had to do all along sometimes.
That's right.
I mean, you putting your name on the line. You got something that can hurt you for the greater cause.
That's right, and that's what has to happen if anything is going to work, And so everybody, we can all do some things together. We just can't do everything together.
Did what you all do on campus permeate into the city itself? Did it
not really
that kind of thing?
Yeah, not really, because what took place there, I told you, it was only about 3,000 or so Black people in the city. Most of them were people who had been there for a while or came from down south, but it was the college brothers, especially, that was from the big cities. That was we were the radicals on the campus.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And so this led you to and shaped your life from that point on.
From that point on.
Yeah, and so now tell us what you do now, if and what you've done in your career and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I came out as a teacher, and I wound up in Racine, Wisconsin, which was another city of about 95,000 people, about 15,000 Blacks. And I was quite radical when I came out, because I came out and started teaching in 1968. And all the things that had taken place. King had got killed in April of 68. Right. I got started teaching in September of 68. Right. The Olympics with Tommy Smith and John Carlos. I mean, the riots that was taking place. I don't know if I remember now, was Detroit. Right. That was in 68. Jersey. Yeah. I mean, it was wild. And so I was the only Black teacher at the school, and I was doing Black Power assemblies. They didn't know what to do with me.
Oh, is that right?
Because I was awakening a lot of the middle school students, and in the city, I was still pushing certain things among the high school students. And the youth are always ready to stand up and challenge the existing system, but you have to learn. But you got a lot of folks who maybe benefit from it, that's cautious. They don't want to lose relationships and friendships. And it's just like our youth are doing now. They're challenging. Right. And a lot of our people are applauding, but a lot of them are also cautious because of the positions that they're in. Right. But it don't stop the youth from doing what they go do, just like it didn't stop us from challenging.
Right. Did you ever have to fear for your life or something like that? Did it ever get that intense?
No, because, sometimes fear, I was probably more afraid not to challenge or do what I was supposed to do, rather than looking at the repercussions of what could happen. And I think that's what happens with a lot of youth. They ain't necessarily scared to die. Now, they might be dying, and we see that every day in our communities. Is that right?
Yeah.
But they ain't scared of dying, because they go do whatever they go do, even if it's for the right thing or for the wrong thing.
Yeah, sure. So now, what do you do? So you taught, and how did that? I mean, you tell a little bit more.
Okay, the first I taught for 1 year because I was so radical. They wanted to move me to another school. They didn't know what to do with me. And so they were going to move me to a school that was basically all white. And I decided, no, I'm through teaching. Because where I was teaching, there were blacks, there was Hispanics, there was white students, and I was making an impact. And I saw what they would do, and I said, no. So I went
Okay.
on and took another kind of job, went into business for myself.
Okay.
And but the thing is I never stopped working and teaching with the youth,
Okay.
because they like I say, you can put certain things in their mind, and after a while it comes to fruition. Once you know the truth, and I tell people this, you don't have to do nothing about it, but
Right.
you can't never not know it.
Right. And so you went to a boys' school or something, didn't you tell me?
When I went back into teaching
Yeah.
I went back into teaching in 1991, and I decided to go to an alternative school.
Right.
And at the alternative school, there were 100 students. There was 4 subjects: English, math, social studies, and science. And I came in as the English teacher. And so the class had 95 boys and 5 young women. Okay.
Mm.
And what happened is I was talking to the principal, which was a friend of mine. I had her put all the girls in one class. All right. And all the
Okay.
rest of the classes had 25 boys, except for that one that had 20.
Yeah.
And basically all the problems that took place was in the class where there were the 5 girls. Not
Oh.
because it was the girls that was causing the problem, but just their appearance. Because in the classroom with the boys, I could say what I needed to say,
Right.
and they wouldn't get offended. Or but in the class where the girls was, a lot of times the arguments that took place in that class, the fellas wouldn't let it go.
I got you. I got you. What and so now you have cards and you sell black
Hmm.
what and I want you to tell us about that and give us your website. But what does people being enlightened about Black history do for us? What does that do?
Well, what I did is you have to wake up. What happens? It wakes up our ancestors. There's some very simple things that we have lived in our lifetime that we don't necessarily pay attention. So the poster that I sent to you,
Yeah.
looking at the world through the eyes of our ancestors,
Right.
it wakes up once you make a comparative analogy of how we lived in not only in African societies, but how many of us grew up.
Right.
Like I grew up in Chicago, and other folks who have some age on them, we grew up a certain way.
Right.
And there are certain things in us, once we wake it up, it's like, wow, because we are always trying to fix things as Black people. We're the
Right.
fix-it people.
Right.
We live in a
Right.
society that basically don't know how to fix nothing because it makes money on people's misery.
Right. I
So a
got
lot
you.
of cases when we're making appeal to for them to do the right thing, and I'm not talking about the masses of white people, I'm talking about the people at the top. They have no intentions of doing the right thing because they make money on not doing the right thing.
I got you. I got
I
you.
don't. Mhm.
I got you. Now, one of the things that I've said, and everybody, this is posted to my book. Hopefully,
Mhm.
titled Black Business Book. It's got over 200 facts on Black history. One of the things that I say that the book does, and I'm sure you'll cite this too, is that if nothing else, we understand the standard that has already been set. Once you
Correct.
where you've already been, then you just don't have to go below that part. Once you accept the history that has already been set by our forefathers, the fights and the struggles, then you go from that point up. It's not you fighting for old things, you fight for the new things, and you make sure that the old things are still in place.
Right.
And so I think that's probably one of the things that what you do, enlightening people, helps. It helps them understand what the standard is,
Mhm.
what is already taking place.
That's right. On that poster that you have,
Yeah,
I would be at a place every day. At different ages, we do different things.
sure.
So I would sit at a place now before the COVID in Milwaukee called Coffee Makes You Black.
Okay.
Now that saying came from when I was a child, and coffee would smell so good. And I would ask my grandmother and them, I say, you know, can we have some of that coffee? And they say, no, son, coffee make you black. Now, that wasn't really is what it was. They didn't want to go give us no coffee. But the thing is, back in the day when we were growing up, there was a saying that if you're white, you're right. If you're yellow, you're mellow. If you're brown, stick around. And if you're black, get back. And
Yeah.
calling somebody black in my day was fighting words. Now you could call them the N word, but you couldn't call them black.
Really? It was that much stigma.
Yes, it was. But later on, as the youth begin, or as we begin to get involved, we put a different emphasis on the N word, even though it was the same thing. So we would say, you know, it's all about the tone in African society. We say, hey man, that's my nigga. Well, that's not demeaning.
Right.
Right? That's a word
I
of
got you.
endearment. Or
Right.
that brother or brother, you know, like we would add the MF word. And
Right.
we'd be on the basketball court and this brother do this thing. We say, man, that's a bad MF.
Yeah.
But depending on what kind of MF, depending on
I
what the
got you.
situation, you know what
Yeah.
kind of MF you is. Is that
I
right?
got you. I got
All
you.
right.
I got you. I got you.
So what I did is like I developed this poster based on not only what happened with Africa, but I show how it carried over to our community when I was growing up. And then when I show it to them at the coffee shops, I said, come here, brother. I would use my gray hair. I say, I want you to read this poster for me.
I
Read it
got you.
across. So they was reading. I said, what you think about it? And all these brothers, anywhere from 16 on up, say, man,
Yeah.
that's the truth. I say, how
Uh,
you know that's the truth? I say, you wasn't born in Africa. I say, but Africa was born in you.
ooh, I got you. What does your shirt say?
Well, the church that I deal with,
And
I deal with it.
your
Oh, my
shirt. What
shirt
does your
said
shirt say?
killingracism.com.
Okay. Is that
And my grandson
okay?
developed this shirt. You know,
Okay.
he's an entrepreneur. He in business for himself,
I
and
got you.
he developed that shirt.
You told me about some cards that you do, that you sell, greeting cards or something like
Yes, I do. You know,
that?
and I
Okay.
got
Yeah,
some here.
show it. You got a picture of it right quick? Show us
Yeah,
to
give me 1 second, and I'll
yeah,
just reach over here and
yeah,
grab it.
show us. Show us. And what he's telling us is more than anything, what you can get out of this is that we
Mhm,
fight for and you organize and you come
mhm.
together, you make change. You get to the consciousness of people.
Give me a prism card.
That's the moral of this.
Right. And
Show us one of the cards or something that you
okay,
oh, that's gorgeous.
this card is designed. The cards that I do is to uplift us in our community.
I got you.
And this card says, I want to commend you on your ability to lead. Your leadership capability is in keeping with a long line of strong Black women.
Ooh, beautiful.
So as you see on here, there's a brother applauding his sister on the stage. So
Yes,
brothers, I sold a bunch of these cards. Brothers bought them immediately for their wife, their
yes,
mother, their
yes,
grandmother,
yes,
women in the community who
yes,
took on leadership roles.
yes,
This is something that I designed to empower Black men to
yes.
give to our women. Okay, this
There you go. Show
all
us
right.
one more. You got another one right
I
there?
got another one. This is my
Yeah, show us one
latest
more.
one. This one here, you see these two sisters holding hands?
Yes, yes,
And if you look at what's taking place in our country now, our women are stepping up all over, right?
yes, yes.
So this card says, sister, the world don't know how powerful we are, but they will.
Ooh, that's beautiful. Tell us your website and how we can find out more about
Well, what happens is I don't have a website.
it. Okay.
Um, and I was just, but this is one of the things I am going to establish.
Yeah, okay.
Because I
But
want to make sure I have the help in place, but sold a
we
lot of cards.
we gonna post some so people get in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Strong Inspirations. And subscribe to us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notifications button. Uh, check out my book, Black Business Book. It's on Amazon. My website is businessintheblack.net. This has become a kind of a movement for me, a ministry to share
All right.
what I like to call good Black history. I find people like Brother Anthony here to tell his story. I'm so grateful that you came on with us today. And everybody, tell somebody about Strong Inspirations, because we coming at you. We coming at you. This is where you can find some good content. And I upload at least 2 videos, 3 videos every week. Tell somebody. Brother Anthony Courtney, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate you. I'm coming to Milwaukee when you back in Milwaukee to meet you. We're gonna go by Daddy's and have something to eat.
Okay.
Well, thanks, man. And stay safe, everybody.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.